discussion. Workshop meeting was held on March 14th at 6 p.m. The executive session was held on March 14th following the workshop meeting for personnel. An executive session was held prior to this meeting at 6 p.m. for personnel and legal discussions. The next workshop meeting will be held Monday, April 11th at 6 p.m. The next board meeting will be held Monday, April 25th at 7 p.m. 1 week from today, April 4th, we will have another budget meeting. And back to that at 6 p.m.
Something that has to be determined, the budget before.
6 p.m. acceptable.
Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock, we're going to do it for you on April 4th.
Works with me.
Okay.
Okay.
6 p.m. April 4th. Janine, roll call.
Ms. Joy Beers?
Present.
Mr. Richard Belts? Absent. Ms. Barbara Bose?
Present.
Mr. Nathan Bowler?
Present.
Mr. Jeremy Glauch?
Present.
Mr. Brian Shaner?
Present.
Mrs. Carrie Sittler? Absent. Ms. April Walker? Absent. And Mr. Walter Slysowicz?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay. Item E, presentations. Ed?
Yeah, Janine's got to get logged in on Zoom.
I see. I see.
Point for the audience, what we're going to do. That big thing is gone, so where you couldn't see people sitting behind it. That big card is now up there. We're coming into the 21st century. In the boardroom anyway.
Jake, while we're waiting, Shine had a cancel tonight.
She had an emergency this evening and Rachel couldn't make it, but again, a little bit of the SHINE program for the families that are needed, the students that are needed. It's a well program to meet those needs after school. They do a lot of educational things. They teach the students, also provide transportation for them. So it's a continuation of the educational process that the SHINE does, and they do an outstanding job. I invited Rachel May or June sometime when time permits that she can make it.
Steve, can you hear us? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So just so you know, you are projected up on the screen behind me,
Okay.
in front of the boardroom live audience public.
Okay.
And you're good to go?
Yeah, okay. Can I share my screen? Is that a possibility or?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. It says host disabled. Screen sharing.
What are we going to do?
Does that drop down?
Could just share screen and see if it's allow. The more.
Who has what? The guy on the screen.
Does that help in any way?
Try now, Steve. See if it lets you share.
Oh,
Yep.
There you go.
this guy.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Right. So you're good?
Yep.
All right. So it's going to start?
Yes, you're good to go.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm here to give a big picture overview of the audit of the Lehigh Area School District for the year ended June 30th, 2021. The name of our firm is Barber Dane Authority Company. My name is Steve Kutzbakis. I'm a partner at the firm. I was responsible for overseeing the audit this past year. Okay? This is kind of give us some of the results of the audit. The timing this year was we started the audit on November 5th, issued a draft on February 2nd, and then issued a final report on February 21st. So that's a little quicker than in prior years, but that's the time of this year. One of the findings we gave unmodified opinions, which basically means that we feel that they're fairly presented in accordance with U.S. GAAP, or United States generally accepted accounting principles. An unmodified opinion is a clean opinion. So that's really the best you can achieve when you really want to get. Standards that we follow are auditing standards, generally of the United States of America, and the government auditing standards, or Yellow Book, because it's actually a Yellow Book. In the audit, there were 2 repeat findings in the report. There were carryovers from prior years. Over the years, they have been dwelling out, there's still 2 that are left over, and those are on pages 73 and 74 of the report. One had to do related to material journal entries. When we did our audit, we posted some correcting entries that were considered to be material to the financial statements. And then the significant balance is outstanding between the general fund and the food service fund. The district did take action this past year to just significantly whittle that down, but it's still a pretty sizable number. So we're still having that in the report. And then anytime there's findings in the audit, if there's management responses, you'll see those on pages 75 and 76 of the report. We did issue a management letter. The management letter, these are different than findings. This is a separate letter to management or to the board, and basically it's recommendation items, things that we see that we think you can do better in order to strengthen your internal controls. And we had several. One had to do with bank reconciliation approval, is make sure that whoever's done the bank rec, that there's another person overseeing that process and reviewing and approving them. A capitalization policy, I will continue to recommend that districts develop some type of written policy and procedures for determining what I consider to be capital versus an expense in the financial statements. We had a recommendation on your accounting system. You should continue to use an order system. And many of the accounting duties that are done outside the system because it's not, there's better systems that you can be using. Payroll segregation of duties, we had a recommendation on that. Basically, where we recommended that the person that can make changes to the payroll record to, just hiring, turning employees, wage increases or decreases, be separate from the person who actually processes the payroll. That's a segregation of duties issue there. Had a comment on segregation of preparation and mailing of checks, inventorying your capital assets, and then your interfund activity, which is basically your activity between your food service fund and your general fund. When the general fund pays something on behalf of the food service fund, they're technically owed that money from the food service fund, so it should be a matching receivable and payable between the funds. When we're doing the audit, we know that wasn't done throughout the year. It was ultimately done by the time the report was issued, but throughout the year it wasn't done. So we just recommend that that's the procedure we put in place. Since the authority spent more than $750,000 federal dollars, we had to do what's called a single audit or compliance audit. And that's supported with the uniform guidance issued by OB. We did give the district an unmodified opinion on compliance, clean opinion, with no internal control issues noted with your compliance over the federal programs. This past year, as you'll see on pages 67 and 68 of the report, total federal dollars spent were $2.7 million, which is up from previous years. This year, the district did receive some CARES money that came in, so that's really why your federal expenditures are up by about $900,000. And the programs we looked at this year were the Child Nutrition Cluster Program and your Education Stabilization Fund, which is your CARES money. And with that second program, which is new, basically what we're looking for is to make sure the money is spent for COVID-related response, whether it be supplies, Chromebooks, additional teachers, so that sort of things. Just kind of want to go over some responsibilities real quick. That's outlined in the independent auditor's report on pages 1 through 3. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally set to the United States of America or U.S. GAAP. As a non-audit service, we assist management with the preparation of these statements. So in a perfect world, big companies a lot of times when auditors come in, they do a pure audit, and then the statements are 100% prepared by management. With districts, with Lehigh, this is very typical with districts across the state and other similar type organizations. A lot of times they rely on the audit firm to help them draft the statements, which is fine. It's just that once the statements are drafted, the management does need to take ownership of them, review and approve them. If that were not happen, we would have an independence issue because we'd basically be auditing our own work. So I just wanted to stress that. Management is also responsible for putting internal controls in place relevant to the preparation of statements that are free material statements. And basically, our responsibility is to express an opinion on these statements based on our audit. We don't give absolute assurance. We give a reasonable assurance, which is considered a high level of insurance. The reason being is that we don't look at every transaction. We do sampling and risk assessment and things like that. So we're only there 2.5 weeks of the year. So that's why it's only reasonable assurance, not absolute. With the audit approach, basically, as I mentioned before, it is a risk-based approach. So we try to target our procedures to target the higher areas that we perceive at greater risk. And some of the ways that we do that are inquiries of individuals at various levels of the district, staff, management, board president. Just to kind of get their perspective of where they may have concerns, where they may be things we need to look at a little deeper. Documentation and issues, internal controls. We do that as part of a risk assessment because if there were an area where there were weak controls or no controls, it would be an area that we perceive as higher risk, and we would do more audit work. And then we do analytical procedures, which is looking at trend data, your budget versus actual results, comparison of actual data versus known facts, so forth. We review minutes, send legal inquiries to your solicitors, and then finally, standard procedures are where we do third-party confirmation of your revenues, your cash balances, review and invoices.